Well, we have an update to the story out of New York City. You know, the one where the Sarah Comrie, or they call her the NYC Karen, and we all watched that video. We last update that we talked about this. Her lawyer came out saying that she had a receipt, and in that video, I said it wasn't about a receipt. Actually, it was about the weaponization of her tears to trying to harm young black men. In the video, I even gave out a little bit to say, well, maybe it was a glitch in the app. And what if both of them purchased it? And that just maybe could have happened, right? But it could have happened. There was no confirmation of that. I'll just say, hey, apps do mess up. But we have some good information today. And the white supremacists is not going to like this information because the way they was acting about this receipt from this woman. The sister of one of the young men, actually the young men in the video that this particular Karen was trying to take the bike from. Yes, take, because I want you to see why I'm saying take the bike. Go ahead and watch this clip.
The only reason why Sarah Jane Comrie was able to produce this receipt for this bicycle is because she jumped over this young man standing right here who had his hands on the handlebars, jumped over him, impales herself on his bike, and scans the QR code to begin the ride. How did all of this happen, and how do I know what happened? Because that young man is my little brother. Bike number 5603915 was in my brother's possession from St. Nicholas Ave and Manhattan Ave all the way to First Ave and East 30th Street from the hours of 6:33 p.m. to 7:19 p.m. At 7:19 p.m., they dock the bikes. Sarah Jane Comrie walks up to them, asks, "Hey guys, can I use one of you guys' bikes?" She says this as there are other bikes sitting idle at the bike rack. They politely decline. She asks them again, mentions that she's pregnant, and they still decline. Then, with my brother standing next to the bike with his hands on the handlebars, she jumps onto the bike, sits on the bike, and scans the QR code, thus beginning her ride. Mind you, the bike was in my brother's possession at this time. So this screenshot is from 6 minutes after the previous ride ended. Once the boys reached the bike rack, they docked the bike to restart the ride. My brother's standing next to the bike. That's when Sarah Jane Comrie walks up to them and asks, "Hey, can I ride this bike?" They say no. They politely decline. She asks them again. They politely decline. As the bike is docked is when she jumps over my brother because he's standing with his hands on the handlebar. She jumps over my brother to start her ride. Then the bike gets pushed back in during the back and forth. And then my brother is able to start the ride again for him. As you can see, 7:25 p.m. Previous ride ended 7:19 p.m. These gentlemen, these boys, did not steal this bike from Sarah Jane Comrie. She stole the bike from them, then proceeded to weaponize her whiteness. Video started being recorded at 7:24 p.m., close to 7:25. My brother's ride that was in the previous screenshot starts at 7:25. The initial ride where my brother rode the bike all the way over to this bike dock ended at 7:19 p.m. Sarah Jane Comrie walked up to them. Sarah Jane Comrie asked them if they can use the bike. They said no. Sarah Jane Comrie sees that the bike is docked, gets up, scans the QR code, jumps onto the bike, starts screaming for help and fake crying so that she can get an electric city bike. There were a number of bikes at the bike rack already there when she arrived. She still proceeded to try to take the bike from my brother. Trying to get help for the city bike. The city bike is in my brother's possession on his account. 7:25 p.m. Docks it at 7:19 p.m. Picks it back up 7:25 p.m. While she's screaming for help, trying to make it seem like these boys stole this bike from her, the bike is on my brother's account. It is not defamation of character if the way that you behave reflected your character. It is not defamation if it's true. Sarah Jane Comrie, you did behave like a Karen. That's true. There's no way around that.
So shout out to our sister there for clearing a lot of this up. In the beginning, we all said that this particular Karen is trying to steal the black young men's bike. And this sister confirmed with more than one screenshot, unlike this woman's lawyer, who's an employment attorney. Do you know her attorney is an employment attorney? And he was actually hired to help her keep her job. He's not even a civil attorney. He's an employment. But this sister dropped receipt after receipt after receipt. Showed when he got the bike, showed the path, showed what he paid, showed it all. You mean to tell me her lawyer couldn't show all that? More than what he showed? Come on now. So everybody was right what they saw in the video that she tried to steal the bike from the young brother. But also it goes back to even the Daniel Penny situation. They need wins so bad because you have to understand they're having a ideological crisis right now. They really are. White supremacy, which is a doctrine of demons, the ideology that they carry, is being under heavy attack constantly, like it's never been before. And so what they're trying to do is trying to find any kind of win to help maintain that ideology and that demonic way of being. So we have seen with Sarah Comrie, they gave this woman $123,000 for what? That $123,000 could have really went to a lot of those people in New York that's homeless that really need some help. But no, when it comes to trying to maintain racism, white supremacy, they got money. See, and that's the same people that would tell you, black people, that they don't have no money and they ain't paying no reparations. And you see any little thing happen and look how quick they get millions of dollars like this. Oh, yes, they got money to pay reparations. They showing you with Daniel Penny and Sarah Comrie that they got plenty of money to pay reparations. So don't be listening to them talking about my tax dollars. No, you're going to pay it because you wouldn't have the ability that you have just to shell out money the way you do. It wouldn't have been for slavery. But let's continue. So white supremacy has been under attack in many ways. So let me explain to you why. Brothers and sisters have taken a stand against white supremacy. And the first order of business was these race soldiers. These race soldiers now are getting consequences. Consequence after consequence after consequence. And if the system don't lay a consequence, then the people hit foot to pavement and cause $1 billion worth of damage. And then they have to go ahead on and put them in jail. So a lot of people now don't want $1 billion worth of damage. So they say, yeah, as much as I don't want to, let me go ahead on and put them charges on it or her. They didn't like to see Michael Slager go to jail. They didn't like to see Amber Geiger go to jail. They didn't like that because that is becoming more of a pattern in which they need the race soldiers to go full throttle against black people to maintain white supremacy. So the race soldiers was taking so many L's. Some of them say, you know what? I'm not even policing like I used to. Forget that. That's been a threat to white supremacy all the way around because the race soldiers, a lot of them now may think a little bit, some of them, about what they're doing. They can't go full throttle like they used to. Now, outside of that, you see issues like the Daniel Penny. They didn't want to arrest him. It was the people putting pressure on them and say, oh, no, you're going to arrest him and you're going to charge him. Even though Alvin Bragg didn't want to charge him, he was so quick to charge Donald Trump, but he didn't want to charge Daniel Penny. Trump didn't kill nobody. But yet he made a big fanfare about Trump, but didn't do it about Daniel Penny. Then you look at this situation. Right? They need a win so bad that when this receipt came out, hey, y'all, ooh, they're going to sue y'all. Oh, that's defamation. Oh, y'all need to apologize to her. You guys just ran her name. You called her a Karen because she was acting like one. Then the funny part was, I think it was Marjorie Taylor Greene that said that calling them Karen is equal to calling a black person the N-word. It lets you know how asinine and remedial they are to even say that. First of all, they came up with the word Karen, not black folk or anybody else. They came up with that. I remember the first time I heard the term Karen was actually during the pandemic. And it was on this, the first time I heard it was on Facebook. And it was actually by white people calling another white woman a Karen. And I say, what is a Karen? And they actually started explaining what a Karen was. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. And then we started seeing it and say, okay, yeah, they are Karens. We see what you're talking about. So they created the term Karen to describe behavior, not race, behavior. But let's call it what it is. It is their community doing the things that they do. You can't compare it to the N-word because that's labeling a group of people, not behavior, a group of people in the worst way possible. That word has been used to terrorize black people for a long time. So never let them try to play it because, all of a sudden now, brothers and sisters, what they're trying to do is this so-called comparative racism. Oh, y'all doing this. You're racist against us. Black people can never be racist. I want to repeat that again. Black people can never be racist. You know why? You have to have power to practice racism. Black people can just not like you. Black people can be prejudiced, sure. Black people can be bigoted, but they cannot be racist. In order for black people to be racist, we would have had to have power. Another term they're trying to say, oh, they are black supremacists. What is a black supremacist? I like to know what a black supremacist is. I like to meet one. And if they are a black supremacist, who are they supreme over? What power do they have to be supreme over anybody? Could they punish someone due to their black skin based off of, hey, you're not black like me, so I'm going to punish you because I'm supreme over you? Please show me the power that a so-called black supremacists have. They are always trying to put on black people who they are. That has nothing, but the so-called black supremacists are black people who call them out on their BS. Black people who call out white supremacy. Black people who's not going to just turn the other cheek. Black people who's not trying to love them like that. Black people trying to say, I'm trying to get away from you. I'm not trying to integrate with you. That to them, that's a black supremacist. Nothing I just said is a premise. It's just a person just trying to just live their life and just stay away from those who don't like them. But in their mind, that's a supremacist, right? Because they just try to label you something and it's not sticking. Because see, at one point in time, they had all the voice out there to speak and black people had no way to fight back. Now, with the creation of the internet and apps and etc., and everybody can see things in real time, now people throughout the world can see their lies. People throughout the world even call them out on their BS and their white supremacy. Even all the mess is going on with Florida right now, Ron DeSantis. And do you know people all over the world now are starting to boycott Florida? People in other countries now have canceled trips to go into Florida. Not so much because of the immigrant thing. That was just kind of like the stick that broke the camel's back. But this guy don't want history taught whatsoever. I mean, you have to understand, they have to insulate themselves in lies and falsehoods for white supremacy to work. This is why they don't want history taught, because truth is the kryptonite of the white supremacists, truth. And speaking that truth loudly, exposing who they are to the world, that is what they don't like. This is why they say, oh, no, I don't want our kids to learn the truth about America. I don't want our kids to learn the truth on who invented a lot of America and innovated America. I don't want our kids to learn that, because if they learn that, then they're not going to really think in their mind that they're supreme. Understand? White supremacy is under threat because they're taking too many L's. You understand, this is drastic what Ron DeSantis is doing and others who follow in suit. That's actually a move of desperation. I'm going to ban you learning history that you can go to any Google, Chat GPT, or whatever else you want to go search on and access his history right now. So what's next? He going to ban Google? He going to ban Bing and anything else? Is that going to be next? So you can't research history? Many people learn so much outside of their school system. I told y'all many times before, I didn't learn nothing in a public school system. All my knowledge came outside of the public school system. That was a complete waste of my time. Education is not a waste of time, but they public school system is a waste of time. We should have some real education. That's why a lot of parents put their kids in private school so their children could be challenged. And all public schools should challenge children, but you got to worry about they people running up in the school and shooting it up. Then to maintain white supremacy, they got to have the gun. They got to have it. And they don't care what happens to kids in school, no matter how many of them been shot. They don't care about that because we got to have our guns. Why? Because for them, you take away that gun from them and they in trouble. They're already in trouble right now with the desperate moves that they're doing. So this is why Daniel Penny is a hero to them, and they trying to get behind him. They need him to get off. If Daniel Penny go to jail even just one day, that's an L for them. And that's telling them you can't just go around practicing the casual killing act on black people without a consequence. They need Sarah Comrie to come out good out of this because they need to know, the Karens need to know that I can go mess with any black people I want to, and I can go and get away with it and even get it broke off maybe a little bit. They need that because it's hurting their overall worldview to watch consequences to their racism. That's what it is. One of the Karens wrote me and talking about, I need to apologize to Sarah Comrie. I'm not apologizing to nobody. Why don't you apologize? Listen, I will apologize to Sarah Comrie when you pay reparations. I will, the day you pass out our checks, I apologize to Sarah Comrie. I do it. I do it the moment you give reparations. I'm not that brother. I told y'all that. Don't come to me about no apologize and forget that. The only ones I apologize to is those I love. My friends, my family, my community, individuals outside my community who are decent people. I have no problem with that if I'm wrong. But to the white supremacists, you've done too much over the years to my people. Forget that. You're not getting one from me for no reason. And there was no reason for me to apologize. None, actually, because we saw the video now is that debunks every freaking thing that this lawyer guy put out, an employment attorney put out. And notice they only go to Fox News with it or New York Post. They don't go to the other left-wing platforms, right? If you got a story, well, shouldn't you want all the left-wing to know it too? They don't even go there. And actually, that's safe for them to go there. They're sure not going to come over here and talk with me because I guarantee you, I'm going to put foot to file. You come over here. But they need white supremacy to keep going. They also don't know what to do, even with the immigrant situation, because this is how they think in their mind. See, some of y'all talking about how some of them identify as white, talking about some Latinos. But in the mind of the white supremacist, at any given time, that can flip on us. Because once they get a majority, a good majority, they going to try to flex. And they're not going to flex on no white. They're going to flex on Latino. The white supremacists know that. That's why they're getting kind of nervous about all the Hispanics coming in here. Number two, they speak a different language. And if you know anything about white supremacy, they don't like people that speak a different language around them because the majority of them don't know a second language. So in their mind, they're trying to plot on us. Don't you really believe that all the Latinos coming in here from other countries is just trying to get on code with them? I seen them do it on jobs. Yeah, they'll sit up there and get on code with them for a time until they get their people in there and they get numbers. And then the same people they was on code with, they cut their throat. They getting them out the job. I've seen it. I work in the petrochemical industry many years. what happens is this. Yeah, some of them will get with them folks, and some of them will even be against black men. And what happens is they'll be snitching on brothers, getting brothers out there, replacing them with their people. But when they get enough of their people in there, if that brother was caught slipping, of course, they can't just fire you for nothing. Brothers don't be tight on their jobs sometimes. Boy, to get caught slipping. And some brothers not confrontational. They'll tell them, look, I know what you got going on. I know what you're doing. And I'm on you too. I'm watching you just as much as you watching me. But some dudes not on that. I always was on that, right? But what ended up happening is, as they getting their people in, they getting the white people out too. They getting the white people fired. The white people not getting the jobs. And what ended up happening, they end up convincing their white bosses to hire nothing but them, and now the white folks not even getting those jobs no more. I'm talking about some high-end jobs. So they play the game very well. And that's what the white supremacist is afraid of, because the white supremacist up here, he need them. He want them, right? He need them to do labor. But the white supremacists at the bottom, who actually need some of those jobs, right? They getting kicked out of them all the time. I'm talking about some of the higher paid jobs. So so they are getting also nervous about them showing up too, because they're going to get on cold with each other. So the white supremacist got a lot going on. So he definitely got to have some wins. He got to shield his children from learning the truth about America, about the greatness of the black man and woman of America, the greatness of black people globally. He got to shield that much as possible. They just passed a thing in Florida where they were removing library books from the library. If a parent complains about certain things in the book, they will remove it. Just like Adolf Hitler done in Nazi Germany, because they have to lie to them to maintain white supremacy. I would not want to have any belief system where somebody got to constantly lie to me. Lie to me and say I'm superior. Lie to me and say I'm the best thing that walked the face of the earth. Lie. Because eventually you got to tell a lie to cover up another lie to cover up another lie. And you having a constant drumbeat of truth. And that's what they don't like. So this young sister put out, see, at one point in time, we didn't have this ability to drop receipts. At one point in time, Sarah Comrie and her attorney, they would have had the story and that would have been the end of it. Black people would have had no way to fight back. Now, black people have a way to fight back, to put out the truth. And that's what's hurting white supremacy, the truth. Shout out to that sister for doing that, clearing all this up, dropping numerous receipts, doing the Lord's work. See, when y'all are taking white supremacy and destroying the ideology just bit by bit, it's not going to be a one-time thing. It's kind of like you just hitting it and constantly hitting it every day, hitting and hitting. Well, eventually you keep hitting something, eventually it's going to break, it's going to crumble. And that's what's happening. Y'all hitting it all the time. Every time they put out a lie, you hitting it with truth. Every time they try to lie about history, you hit them with the truth of history. Knowing the truth, as the scriptures teach, will set you free. Knowing the truth, not the truth, but knowing it. And they do not want their people to know the truth. This is why they try to hide the truth from their people. Banning history, banning books. Now, the only thing I agree with Ron DeSantis on, and I made a whole video about it, was that African-American AP course, because they had a thing in there talking about queer studies and all that. And it was literally some indoctrination. It wasn't even about the history of anything. Yes, we've had people that's like James Baldwin, part of the LGBT community, but James Baldwin was black first. He was not discussing his personal life with nobody. He wasn't saying, I'm this and I'm proud. No, he was about black people. Period. I don't want to know what nobody do in their bedroom, no matter if you're heterosexual, homosexual, whatever. I don't care. All I care about is what's going on in mine, not nobody else's. And when you out here fighting against white supremacy, we're not thinking about no bedroom. We think about the task at hand. They use the bedroom to confuse you, to distract you from paying attention to him. But see, the issue is we more focused today. We more focused on the propaganda. We are fighting the propaganda war, ladies and gentlemen. We're fighting that. And I will say we are making some headways in the propaganda war, because it's a war. It's a daily war of propaganda. So when we stand up and defend black people, when we stand up and tell the truth, when we stand up and be about righteousness' sake, we are doing the Lord's work, because only those who walking with the Lord will walk in truth, walk in righteousness, setting people free, condemning the lying tongue, which God himself hates, a lying tongue. God also hates those who shed innocent blood, which the white supremacists have done that constantly. Look, God himself hates the white supremacists and white supremacy. Look at the scripture. The 7 things God hates, 6 are abominable to him. Shedding the innocent blood, God hates that. So he can't love the white supremacists. He can't. He can only love his children who walk in spirit and in truth, not lies and devilment. And the white supremacists have made a covenant with the devil. And that's why you see what you see today. See, when you're breaking down their ideology of hate and all that other stuff they got going on, you're doing the Lord's work. And I would tell you this, the Lord is definitely not pleased. He not. And those who practice degeneracy have been turned over to a reprobate mind. This is why they can do the things they're doing, because they have a reprobate mind. But don't you do the things they're doing. Don't try to think that their degeneracy is the right thing to do. Always stand on truth, righteousness, and walking upright before the Lord. Always, my people, always. If you stand on truth, you don't need a win. Think about it. They need a win from a guy that snuck up behind a man having a mental health episode and and murdering him, lynching him. That's a hero, lynching him. That's heroes to them. But it makes sense, because when you got Robert E. Lee statues and Grady in Atlanta, which he was a hardcore white supremacist, and black people called himself a Grady baby. Like, y'all really need to talk to y'all mayor about taking that Grady statue down. He was a hardcore white supremacist. Do not call yourself no Grady baby, please. But continue to do the Lord's work like our sister did in this video. Put out the truth, stand on that truth, and we will prevail with the truth. We ain't got to lie on none of them. We don't have to. That's the beauty of what we do. We don't have to lie. We can just stand on the truth.